Yi Shui is the best player of the most popular MMO named Glory, and is entitled as the battle god for his achievements in the game. Shui is signed under a team named Excellent Era and has helped them in winning multiple championships with his 10 years of experience in the game. Shui is invited by the management of the Excellent Era to discuss some future plans. Shui gets joined by Mu Cheng, his teammate for Glory, and the two head to the headquarters to find out about a change of plans by the management as they announce replacing Shui as the captain with a new player named Sun Xiang. Shui's character gets transferred to Xiang as well, and the management gives him a disrespectful offer to act as a mere training partner for Xiang if he wishes to stay. Shui resigns from the company as it was his only choice, and gets kicked out by the same organization he worked for 8 years, and even won 3 championships in a row with his skills. With the desire of continuing to play the game, Shui visits an internet cafe near the headquarters, and meets Chen Guo. Shui requests Chen to let him work at the cafe, and she accepts while telling him to pull an all-nighter with her. Before hopping into the game, Shui tells Chen that he is from Excellent Era, but Chen just laughs it off. Glory had just released a 10th server, and Shui decided to get back into the game with a new account, named as Lord Grim. Shui goes through the usual low-level grind and finds a custom umbrella weapon that he decides to stick to. Shui gets invited to a raid by a player named Sleeping Moon, and during the raid, he picks up on Moon's intention of hogging all the loot himself. Shui changes the plan a little and stops healing Moon with the determination of defeating the boss himself. Shui shows all that experience and skills against the boss after the rest of the party members get taken out and easily solos the boss, shocking everyone with the first kill in the new 10th server. Shui's reputation gets pretty bad after everyone else thinks that he was the one who planned to get all the loot by himself in the first place instead of Sleeping Moon. Shui approaches Sleeping Moon and his party Full Moon Guild to join him on another raid after receiving a lot of not-so-pleasant messages. The second raid starts, and Shui surprises the whole party by easily defeating the Shadow Cat boss. The whole Full Moon Guild is left shocked by Shui's unbelievable skills. The raid proceeds towards the Spider Cave, and Shui continues his aggression by jumping onto the Spider Cave boss as well. Shui wraps up the cave spider rather quickly and secures the first ever boss kill in the cave. The crew gets surprised when another spider comes out of nowhere. Shui remarks the spider as a hidden boss and asks for the help of the Full Moon Guild. After his extraordinary fighting skills, Shui shows his tactician skills and assigns tasks to the guild member while forming a strategy right there. The group succeeds in defeating the hidden spider, and the news spread to a large audience. The news reaches the Blue River, and he requests Shui to assist them in securing some first kills for their reputation. Shui agrees to help, but signs off for the day after demanding rare items in exchange. Back at the cafe, Chen gives a spare room at the cafe to Shui, and he passes out the moment he hits the bed. The news of Shui's retirement brings a wave of sadness in the fans, including Chen, who was a big fan as well. Shui tries to tell Chen that he is a famous player, but Chen still laughs it off. Shui joins in a raid with the Blue Brook Guild as Grim, and starts out by a reckless plan of defeating all the waves of the goblins in a single time. The guild members doubt him until he shows his skills, leaving them surprised too. The members are even more surprised to realize that he is using the classless adventurer class that no one else decides to use. Shui directs a horde of goblins towards the party as well, and they defeat the goblins under Shui's instructions successfully, setting the new record for clearing the Frost Forest quest in 20 minutes and 24.18 seconds. Chen invites a friend of hers named Tang Ro to the cafe, and she gains some quick popularity after winning some matches easily with Chen's account. Tang brags about how easy the game is, and Chen asks her for a duel against Shui. Shui requests to bet on the games to keep them interesting and ends up defeating Tang in every single one of them, making Tang not only lose money, but her pride as well. Shui's domination sets a fire inside Tang to improve. Tang creates a new account to catch up to Shui and decides to start off as a battle mage. Shui teaches Tang some essential tricks once he comes to know about Tang's class. Shui decides to fight with the Blood Gunner boss next and jumps right into the battlefield. The top 3 guilds of the game are there just to witness the battle in hopes of getting the first kill. A brawler named Steamed Bun joins in with Shui, and the two keep pushing the Blood Gunner back. When it seems like Shui and Steamed Bun might win, the three guilds start to bribe Shui into joining them, and Shui flees from the area after making Bloodgunner spawn 100 extra zombies to keep the three guilds watching from the sidelines busy. Shui lures Bloodgunner again after enraging him towards the Full Moon Guild, and ends up successfully defeating the boss, securing the first kill on this one as well. Blue River approaches Shui again while requesting another assist in setting up the new world record on the Frost Forest. Shui declines the offer since he had already accepted Tyrannical Ambition's request, but is later a little worried after he comes to know that his latest Frost Forest record got beaten by a whole of 7 minutes by Excellent Dynasty Guild. Shui prepares a team for his raid to help out Tyrannical Ambition Guild with getting the Frost Forest record back from the Dynasty Guild. Shui later witnesses an online match that is going on between the New Excellent Era and Team 301. The match is going in favor of Sun Xiang, who is playing as one Autumn Leaf, Shui's character, and it seems that Xiang will win, but Shui predicts otherwise. Shui remarks that 301 is throwing the match intentionally so they can make Xiang fall into their trap. The match goes as Shui predicts, and Excellent Era loses that match to Team 301, despite being in a favorable position due to Xiang's bad leadership and communication. After the online match, the vice captain of Excellent Era named Li Hao visits the internet cafe drunk and gets rather displeased after finding out Shui works there. He tries to trash talk Shui, but Shui ends up making fun of him for being a failure and obliterates Hao's ego after telling him how they lost the recent match. Shui later lands the final blow on the humiliation after he tells Hao to leave the cafe since the workers at the cafe have the right to kick out drunk customers. Shui jumps into glory to secure the raid record back again. He takes Tang as Soft Mist along with Rule and the dumb brawler Steamed Bun Invasion. The launcher of the team turns out to be Mu Cheng, who was playing on an alternate account on Shui's request. Rule gets surprised after looking at the skills of Tang and Steamed Bun after he made fun of them for being rookies in the back of his head. The crew proceeds with the quest and Shui decides to upgrade his custom umbrella weapon to clear the quest efficiently. Mu Cheng flexes her professional skills and Shui tells her to avoid using her professional moves so they can keep a low profile. Things go just as planned and Shui's team succeeds in setting up a new record at 13 minutes and 5.47 seconds. However, the record gets snatched away from them quite fast by Excellent Dynasty yet again. Tang emphasizes on getting the record back for themselves, but Shui calms her down by telling her that there is no point in doing so. Li Hao, who was still angry at Shui for his behavior, starts to suspect that Lord Grimm is none other than Shui himself, and devises a strategy to get back at him. He creates a new account with the name Hateful Sword and texts Shui with the request to duel. Shui humiliates him again, but later invites him to his party on their quest to set a new record at the Boneyard stage. Shui devises a new plan to set the time record, and Hao plays along, spending all his time on the 10th server. Hao had forgotten about his official match with Shao Tian and faced a brutal defeat against the Sword Saint. Hao takes out his frustration and helps his team to set the record at Boneyard with Shui's strategy. Hao tells Shui that he's a loser, but Shui surprises him when he reveals that he knew about him being Li Hao the whole time. A mysterious man comes to the cafe and gets to the back of the cafe with Shui. He turns out to be the Sword Saint named Huang Shaotian and is revealed to be Shui's old friend. He joins in Shui's raid at the Boneyard with an alternate account, and Shui uses a new strategy of trapping enemies in a cave instead of defeating them to save time. Shui's team meets up with the Blue Brooks, determined to beat the record time at the Boneyard. Shui's team succeeds in the raid, and the news of them beating the record time by 32 seconds spreads around, adding to Hao's frustration. Hao deduces that it was Shao Tian who was helping Shui with the raid as the new player. Back at the cafe, Shui and Shao Tian have a little chat, and Shao Tian asks Shui about his reason for leaving the pro scene completely. Shui reveals Mu Cheng being the reason, as if he had switched teams, Mu Cheng would have terminated her contract too. He retired so that Mu Cheng's contract could finish and revealed his plan to return to the pro scene after 1 year. Shui is training in the game with Tang, Bun, and Sleeping Moon along with another player when he feels like someone is observing them. It turned out to be the leader of the Herb Garden Guild named Plantago Seed. Seed attacked the group, and when even Soft Mist and Steamed Bun were not able to contain him, Grimm himself stepped in. Shui fought the unpredictable magician fighting style of Seed easily and defeated him after an interesting battle. Shui later concluded that Plantago Seed wasn't the original one, but someone controlling his avatar. The player behind it was revealed to be Wang Jieshi. Wang was 80% sure that Grimm was actually Ye Shui, and decided to assign players from his guild to defeat Grimm with the new accounts. The members get to work and attack Shui with all their might. However, Shui defeats the attackers really easily, making them look like fools. A new broadcast discloses a high-ranked player named Joe Zakai, who was the winner of the latest Glory tournament. Shui's duels continue with the member of the Herb Garden, and Shui decides to make things a little more spicy, since beating the Herb Garden was getting rather boring at this point. Shui decides to fight each player from the Herb Garden one by one, but places a requirement of fighting Tang before him. Shui sets Tang's fights up so she can gain proper experience of fighting against pro players. Shui demanded them to bet a rare item every time they challenge so things can get interesting and Shui can upgrade his character. The fight starts between Shui and Yi Fan, and even though Shui wins, he gives Yi Fan some tips about using a Ghostblade class instead of an assassin, since that would suit his fighting style more. Captain Wang takes Tang outside for a chat, and it is later revealed that he offered her to join his team. The battle between Shui and Wang starts, but this time Wang plays with his usual character. The battle gets intense between the two, and the ring catches fire, forcing Wang to use ice magic. Things get out of control and the match ends up in a draw. After the duels, Tang approaches Shui in his room to ask him about how it feels to be a pro player, to which Shui replies how enjoying the game is all that matters at the end. Yi Fan is shown to act on Shui's advice and make a new account as a Ghostblade character. The next day arrives with the visit of a tall blonde guy at the cafe, who is mistaken by Chen as a gangster, but it turns out that the guy is actually Steam Bun Invasion, named Bao Rongxing. Sometime later, rumors start spreading about Shui since he agreed to help Full Moon Guild in setting a record at the Desolate Lands at the cheap price. Everyone wanted Grimm's services, and some people got even more furious after Shui refused their offers for more money since he had already made a deal with Full Moon Guild first. Blue River didn't know what to do, and instead went on a journey to get help from the guild leader named Chang'ing Spring. Back to Shui. He was shopping around with Tang and Steam Bun in order to upgrade their gear, and while they were looking around in the market, Shui felt like someone was onto them. They get into a deserted area where they meet Yi Fan with his new character, who gets attacked by Steam Bun at first. It turned out that Yi Fan wasn't the one following them, and the group gets jumped by several guildless players. The four fought them off and later succeeded in defeating Poplar Beach from the Blue Brook. It turned out that they had set the new record in Desolate Land at 24 minutes just recently. Back at Excellent Era, a player named Yi Hui seems to have a grudge on Shui, since he thinks Shui was the reason he couldn't become pro in the past. After their confrontation, Shui asks Yi Fan to join him since he will need Yi Fan's Ghostblade in setting up the new record. Shui challenges Poplar Beach with Chen's character and humiliates him in front of everyone. Xiao Tian's captain, Yu, catches on to Shui playing behind the screen and confronts Xiao Tian for helping Shui and the whole situation with Li Hao. Back at the cafe, Tang finds out about an online guide written about someone called Concealed Light. Concealed Light's strategy skills later makes Shui interested in him despite him being a noob at Glory. Xiao Tian tells Shui about Yu knowing his identity and wanting to fight him in a one-on-one, to which Shui agrees. The duel begins with Yu playing on his main Warlock, a character that depends on game sense. They too had an interesting battle, but Yu gets defeated by Shui's fast techniques. The cafe is visited by Mu Chang later, who informs Shui about all the members of his team being targeted. The crew get online to get revenge on Tang's defeat, but due to having targets on their back, things get tricky. Steam Bun falls into a well when he's trying to run and ends up meeting Concealed Light. He takes Concealed Light with him and contacts Shui to tell him the whole situation. Concealed Light helps Bun follow the best path while Shui is under the joint attack of multiple guilds. Shui tries to run away but is spammed by Xiao Tian to duel. Shui calls Xiao Tian in the forest and uses his help in defeating the mobs until both of them run out of mana. The day gets saved when the rest of the crew pull up to the forest and defeat the mobs successfully despite being outnumbered. Shui goes after the Lion Canyon to level up, while the rest of the guilds plan to stop Shui's group from doing so. The Tyranny Guild's vice leader thinks that Lord Grimm is Shui, and to prove it to Captain Han, they step into a fight with him. The members fight a little before Han steps in, giving us a little backstory of his rivalry with Shui, and how Shui defeated him to win the first trophy. Shui confirms his return to the pro scene with Han, and later we see Shui in his new jersey for the competition. Shui's story continues as he plans to finally end the hiatus and get back in the official world of glory.